Yeah, all right, we back. Player T, that's me, Hollywood in the hood. Yeah, it don't stop. I'm right here. I'm joined by some really great ladies right here, movers and shakers in the community, in your hood, from the tri-state area. I'm talking about from D.C. and from Maryland, from them parts, you know, the Dynamic 3. I got Amina Scott. I got Miss Barbie Johnson. You know what I mean? I got Miss Tisha Winkler right here. Yeah, I hope I ain't butcher nobody.
No.
You know, how my dude Buzz say my colloquium, you know. Straight. But ladies, we was just in your parts not too long ago. We was down there for the inauguration of Obama. Yeah, we was out there and we made a lot of money out there in the name of Barack Obama. You know, we was out there, you know, with the music blaring out the whip, you know, my president is black. You had dudes coming up, not even knowing who we was playing, you know, and they was from Atlanta. We was listening to Jeezy, you know. You know, we had some posters that had HNIC on there. He had chains around his neck. You had black people like, why y'all doing that, you know? It was really cold out there, but we had a lot of love out there, you know. Right. You all love it. So you on tour right now?
June
8th. Just getting started a little bit earlier. Want to bless these parts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, from how you are marketing yourself as the Dynamic 3, I take it you all lean on each other's powers to propel what you all have individually. Is it something like that?
Yes, it's like that because each one of us have a dynamic story in itself to inspire and encourage other people.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Now, from that dynamic story spawned books that you all have penned, right? Each one of you have penned a book.
Absolutely.
Right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so do you talk about your story in those books?
Absolutely. It's life itself.
Now, you told me candidly off camera, you yourself, Barbie, that you have penned at least 10 books.
10 books with 6 yet to be completed, and 2 of those are children's books.
10 books, yeah, 10 with 6 more in the chute coming down the pike, you know, and 2 of them children's books. Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Where you get this literary bug from?
Actually, it started with my story. Excuse me for laughing. From trial to affliction, which my sister helped push me to get the book started and finished.
What's the name?
From trial to afflictions.
From trial to afflictions. Yeah, yeah, that's really deep. You say your sister kind of pushed you into.
Yeah, she had to because I didn't want to write the story.
You didn't want to write it?
No.
Why, you didn't want to be reminded of what you went through? Or what was the reason that you had to be pushed about it?
Well, because at the time, I did not know God was using her to help me get my story out there until a friend of mine invited me to church. And this prophet was there. And I was the first one he called out. He said, I'm just going to say blue dress because I don't remember what kind of dress I had on at the time. He said, you with the blue dress on. He said, come here. I walked up. And he said, did you write that book? I said, no. And my eyes were going like that, too. I said, no. He said, why not? I said, well, I didn't think anybody really wanted to read my story. He said, no. He said, the devil made you stop, and he wants to silence your voice. He said, God said, write that story and tell your addiction.
That's right, yeah.
And my addiction is not drugs or alcohol, but you have to get the book to find out what it is.
Okay, so your addiction is not drugs and alcohol. Okay, so we can scratch that off. You know, so any hustlers outside waiting to hit a lick, you know what I mean? That ain't happening.
That's not it.
That ain't happening.
No.
Ain't no hitting no licks over here. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so that's a chance encounter, you know, for that to happen, and you just From then on, you had wind in your sails.
No, that was not the chance. The next week.
Oh, we had to be pushed a little further. That wasn't all you. Come here. Why you ain't finish your book? You like, huh? Are you serious? Okay.
So the next week, a different friend invited me to church.
Okay. You was really getting the word. You was really getting the word. You was really getting the word.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So this was a female prophet.
Okay.
She said, God said, finish that book this year.
She said that to you?
Yes.
Hold on, these prophets, they didn't know you.
No, and I didn't know them.
So what did you make of hearing this back to back like that?
Well, I know that's God because my upbringing is in religion. I'm a minister as well.
Oh, you're a minister?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And so prior to that, you wasn't having any premonition of your own?
No, I didn't. Like I said, I did not want to write the story. But when God spoke through those two people, and he said, finish the book this year.
That was one of the first books?
That was my very first book.
That was your very first. Not only did you pen that book, you went to 9 other ones. Came down the pike along with 6 more waiting.
Yeah, that was because after I got the first book in my hand, that's when I felt like I was an author. Reality hit. You are an author. And I don't know, somewhere in between there, God dropped the love of writing in my heart. And that's what I started doing, just writing. And I don't just write for me, I write for other people. I do ghost writing as well.
So it wasn't always the case, and it's not like in your much earlier days coming up, you wasn't this prolific writer where you was writing so much?
No, there was nothing like that.
But you went through some things, and then how long before you did start writing about this stuff?
Well,
before you met those friends that invited you into church? How long had you had time past that?
I think it was somewhere around 2010. My sister had prodded me to start writing. She said, girl, your life, because I would tell her things that's going on in my life. And she said, girl, your life is like a story.
Oh, you were confiding in your sister?
Yes, absolutely.
Interesting, because before we came with the book, the only person we spoke to was sis.
I wasn't saying, God, shall I write this book? No. I wasn't trying to write, period.
What was it about sis that made you so comfortable that you could tell her everything you were going through before you put it in the book?
We always came up close. My family, we did.
Was she mentioning any of it?
Yeah. She's mentioned a lot of it.
Was she flattered or was she bothered? Must not be too bothered. Yeah, go on, sis, put it out. Because if she was fast and all that, hold on, sis. No. Yeah, she was flattered about being and everything.
So to speak.
So you spoke your honesty, you spoke your truth.
Exactly.
And so, and you had been telling her you're thinking about putting in a book, you just hadn't acted on that.
No, I hadn't. Like I said, until those 2 prophets came and spoke what God gave them to speak to me. And I knew it was so because then he stirred in me an urgency to do it. And God literally told me that there are other men and women who need my story because they will see themselves in what I've gone through, how I made it out, how I got through it. And it wasn't by my own strength. I needed help, support, and I needed God. I needed him.
Without having to give the book up, because you want to make sales, like, was it real deep personal things you had to overcome?
Yes, it was. Well, can I tell you this one snippet?
Yeah.
Okay, now there's a portion in the book where it talks about my, how you want to say, rage.
Rage?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something I needed to be delivered from.
Okay.
And that rage got me landed in jail for 3 days.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we gotta watch that. Yeah, Barbie, because I can, when my mother passed away, I was filled with all this anger. I was angry at the system. I was angry at anybody, but I had to let go of that.
Yeah, but my reality came behind one. Oh, okay, let me see it like this. The devil will push you and prod you to get you out of character. Now, this was behind a man. Because I tell you, don't lie to me, please. Just don't. Just don't. No. Come on, let's just get it out there. But I had something to do with it as well.
We have growth. We have growth. T was behind a man. But guess what? I had something to do with it.
Yes.
That's growth right there. We want to get the book, right, y'all? We want to get the book.
Oh my God.
We want to get the book.
But
So hold on. As we started penning that book and then the 9 others that followed, were we exercising those demons and that anger started seeping out of us and we started separating ourselves from that anger? Did that type of thing happen?
Part of my deliverance came through writing that book.
Okay.
Because, like I said, there were a myriad of things that were happening in my life at the time, and even in that point, my husband, God took him. He passed away. Oh, sorry. So that was a kicker for me, and I was angry with God.
He was angry with God. Naturally so.
But there, you go through the stages of bereavement.
Yeah.
So that was one of them.
Yeah. You were angered that your husband passed. You were angered at God. Obviously, you loved him. He treated you really well.
Yes, he was a wonderful. And if any other man come,
they gotta. You gotta, man. You gotta measure up, baby. You can't just waltz in like, you want a cup of coffee? Nah, G. Nah, it take more than Folgers crystals.
You gotta come with something.
It's gonna take more than Folgers crystals, man. Trying to relate over some, excerpts out of a book. You trying to play it off like that. Okay. Yeah, you stood for something in your life.
Yes, absolutely.
And then you had this anger, and then besides writing the book and being therapeutic to you, because that's what I take.
Yes.
What else did you do to pull yourself from up under that?
Like I said, I have to finish the part about the jail.
The jail. Oh yeah, that'll humble us. I don't care if you was in there 3 days. I don't care if you was in there for a couple hours.
3 days.
That'll humble you. That'll humble you. You know what I mean? What were you telling yourself when you were in there for those 3 days?
Yeah, what I told no, when I got in there, because the officer was trying to say, "Ma'am, please go home. Don't do this
you could
today."
You could have avoided everything.
I could have.
But that anger put you in a predicament.
Yes, it really. I'm trying to get people to see you need to be delivered from some things.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and for me, anger was it. It wasn't anger. It was rage.
Rage. Yeah, that's a difference.
Yes, it is.
That's a difference.
Anger is a light thing. Rage is different.
Anger you could probably work on. Rage is a little bit different, man. I pray you don't go into a rage. Cause that's like a firestorm. That's like one of those storms. Can't bottle it up, huh? And so you had the courage to put this into books to help other people.
I had to, because once those doors slammed behind me, clunk, reality set in for me right then and there. Because I said, oh, God, what am I doing here? How did I get here?
Hold on, we ain't swing on the police and nothing, did we?
No. And the devil will leave you too. He won't say nothing else to you once he got you where he wanted you to be.
Right. He used you and that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, that's real dope. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back in a minute with the Dynamic 3. Player T, that's me, Hollywood in the Hood.